Okay, cool. Let's get this started. Hi, Gabby. Welcome back to my channel. I know you are a really big Bridgerton fan, just like me. I have like a whole Bridgerton playlist on my channel, and I couldn't think of anyone better but you to do this. What are we doing? Best moments of Bridgerton show. Almost forgot the title, but it's the title of this video. And I feel like we waited like 2 long years to get a Bridgerton season 3. They finally dropped the trailer, I think it was last week.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just talk about that a little bit, but also just kind of creating a countdown to Bridgerton season 3 because we're finally getting it next month after 2 long years and all of writer and actor strikes. So it feels like we have earned this. But of course, they treat us poorly by breaking it into 2 parts. That's insane. What is that? Is it like a business thing? Like, because I mean, I don't have Netflix right now, but I am gonna get it for Bridgerton. So is that their plan to keep me there for like for that extra month because they know that people do that? Like, what is that strategy? So many shows have been being split up into 2 parts.
Yeah, I think it's like part of their like subscriber strategy to keep you on longer. And I mean, it has worked. They've done it with like Stranger Things,
Yeah.
did it with The Witcher, they do it with their big high profile shows. So it seems like it was only a matter of time they were going to do it with Bridgerton.
Yeah. It's just like, but like we waited 2+ years for just 4 episodes, and then we have to wait a month for the other 4.
So in total honesty, I have seen the first 6 episodes of season 3 because I
That is
got
early.
trainers for work. Yeah. So I know I know exactly how they're splitting up the story. And
Yeah.
I can't really say much more than that. But I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I'm very curious to see how people react to that. But I think it's like a good way to keep the conversation rolling
It's a
much
good way to like
longer.
keep on the hook.
Yeah, I think I mean, just like for me, like from an editor standpoint, like I know our Bridgerton stories are gonna flourish between the 2 parts because people are gonna be dying to know how the rest of it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Right. Right. I know that you're a fan of that book. Can you say if you're liking the show so far, or is that secrets?
No review, like the review embargo's not up yet, so I cannot share my opinion yet, but
Okay. Okay. Well, we
I
will be.
definitely have one.
Huh?
I definitely have one though.
I can't wait. Hopefully, we can do a live show. Will you be allowed to do a live show? We're having conversations today.
Yeah, we can. I can once like the embargo breaks and like
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Yes, I will probably be doing a vlog of me watching the show and like doing like a live reaction thing. Well, it's recorded, but like unfiltered. And then I want to do a live show with all of us because I want to get the crew back and have everyone's thoughts. Because again, I know like we're all pent up and hard up and waiting for this. It's like we're waiting for that release. So I'm excited for all of that. But until then, I wanted to do a countdown till Bridgerton season 3 for most of us. Gabby is special. She's already seen most of it. But I wanted to start off with you, Gabby. What are some of your favorite moments? Or start off with one, and then we can do like the whole like back and forth. We might share similar taste.
Yeah, so like from season 1, which is probably, and I was thinking about this, like my all-time favorite moment from the series is when Simon is in front of the queen and he says to her, to meet a beautiful woman is one thing, but to meet your best friend and the most beautiful of women is something entirely apart. I just like, I love it. Like it's the perfect like encapsulation of like friends to lovers
Yeah.
that like I've seen on screen. It's just like it's just such a beautiful thing to hear. You want that in your life. So like um for me, I feel like that was just such a beautiful way to put that and made me in love with Simon forever and upset that, Red J. John never then decided not to come back. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely one of my all-time favorites.
That is an amazing scene, and I don't even have that on my list because there's so many good moments throughout the entire show so far that I forgot about that. But you reminded me of it, and I think the first time that I watched that part, I like felt myself melting inside because it was so beautiful. And he also mentions in that scene that like he's never been one for like chatting or flirting, but like he always felt just so at ease with Daphne, like he could just speak freely and was able to express himself, and like he was able to let his guard down in that way. And they did turn into friends eventually. It was a little bit like enemies at first for like a short time, and then they were becoming closer, more friendly, and then eventually grew to love each other. And the whole friendship based love scene in front of the queen is an amazing choice. I fully agree. So I put all meet cutes. I think that's one of the great things that the show does really well is getting those two protagonists um, meeting each other, which is going to be interesting. That is going to be shifting because we already know for season 3 that Penelope and Colin know each other. So I'm bracing myself how they're going to make that work. But I really loved Simon and Daphne's meet cute at the party because it says a lot about the both of them, because he's coming off really arrogant, thinking that she's purposely bumping into him, trying to holla at him, and she's like, I don't even know you. um, so I like that she was giving him attitude right back, and then he seemed impressed with that. Regé-Jean Page is so good at acting with his eyes and just like there's like subtlety in his face. So I think he does a really good job of like he's giving her attitude and being a dick at first, but then like as she's giving him attitude right back, he does like a double take, me like, wait, I guess I did deserve that. She like put me in my place, and I loved it. It was a great meet cute moment.
Yeah, I love that meet cute too. I feel like it feeds right into like his speech to the queen, just sort of like the ways that like Daphne's so unexpected to him and like surprises him, and that's kind of like where a lot of his respect for her like started was in that meet cute. And so I think it's a really good way. And yeah, and I do love how like arrogant he was, and then he just kind of, and then Daphne's like, no.
I love her.
My next one is, unsurprisingly, I Burned for You. Which I think like, I think if you're big Bridgerton fan, you know that's actually from the Viscount, the Viscount Who Never Loved Me or whatever. I'm forgetting this book.
Yeah.
Apologies. But
yeah, that's right. That's right.
But they took that speech and I feel like totally like owned it and made it their own. And I think like that their first love scene, which is so like, I mean, it was just so fraught with tension, and it ended up just being so beautiful and romantic. And like, I don't know, even though they weren't like in love yet or didn't realize they were in love yet, like I still felt like that tension, and I feel like that's kind of what Bridgerton made its mark for, just having these like really great like sex scenes, and
yeah, they feel like that particular wedding night felt really intimate. It felt real, like it looked real, and it felt like you were kind of invading someone's privacy because it's so passionate. It's like her first time, and then he knows it, and he's asking her like, "Is this okay? Do you want me to stop?" And it was like, this is so well done. Like it was great.
yeah. And I mean, even at the end, like it sort of like doubled down on like Daphne's naivete, not her realizing like why he just like jumped off her all of a sudden. So it played a part in the plot. Like it wasn't just a sex scene for the sake of having a sex scene or whatever. And yeah, I just think like that's definitely always going to be one of my favorite moments.
For sure. And I Burn for You spawned the TikTok sensation Bridgerton the musical, which I was obsessed with. Still am. Like I still listen to it. Love me some Barlow and Bear, despite the controversy. Now they're gonna be doing Moana 2 soundtrack. So hey, they're laughing all the way to the Disney house.
Yeah, one of them was on tour with Beyonce. So like amazing.
So amazing. Well, I did mention all the meet cutes. So if you guys have seen my reaction to season 2 and you saw our live show last year, I was not a big fan of the second season, but I remember really liking how they met, even though they do change it from how the book is, because again, I think it shows you a lot about the characters in such like a short moment. I think in the show, right, they meet on horseback and they're racing each other. So we know Kate is very unconventional because she'd rather be riding horses alone, like in the woods, rather than like having tea or something. So I think Anthony probably thinks that's unusual, but he also is really liking it because he's choosing to race with her. And then there's like a smirk at the end. I remember. I love a flirtatious smirk. I love flirtatious lines. I realize that by myself. Like the girlies love the brooding heroes, but I like the flirts. Like, yes, please be charming.
Yeah, I really love that. Oh, like the way they meet their meet cute. I think it's like it's definitely like fits into the whole enemies to lovers dynamic, like their like competitiveness. So like you said, it told us like a lot about them, and I think when you put them in competition with each other, it sort of becomes like this like charm competition, which like works for us because we get to see like a very charming Anthony after seeing him kind of overly brood in season one, in my opinion. He became much more of a romantic lead in season two, which is why I was so surprised by it, and I really really love season two. I know not everyone loves it as much, but I really just ended up like falling in love with it. So yeah.
Next one.
So my favorite moment is the one of my favorite moments is the hunting scene. It's like a little bit midway through the season when they decide to bring the men invite Kate to go hunting. And
Yeah.
again, it's like another competitive like
Yes.
scene where she's basically showing up Anthony and the other guys at hunting, and then they're like over this log, like pointing at
Yes.
a deer or something. And that's like the first moment where you like not the first one, but like I think the second moment where they're very close and
Hmm.
they're breathing heavy, and it's like, are they gonna kiss? You know? So um, I don't know. For me, I always like whenever I rewatch, I always like stop at that scene because I just like really love that tension. I think again, that's like a lot of what made me love season two was like these like really close, like almost kissing moments.
Hmm.
You know, really, really nailed the slow burn.
I didn't feel that way. I just felt like the grunts wasn't doing it for me at all, and I just didn't think they had like chemistry. Like, are you telling me you think they had more chemistry than the actors who played Simon and Daphne, though?
I wouldn't say they had more chemistry, but I do think they did have chemistry, and I do like the way their romance was structured.
Hmm.
Um, a little bit more than how like the overall structure of Simon and Daphne. So I think like there's just like there's different characteristics of it that I like a little bit more. But I think chemistry wise they don't have as much as Simon and Daphne.
Hmm. Yeah. Thank you. I will accept that answer. I wrote when Anthony and Kate are together at the end. Because we only get a little moment of like that marital bliss when they're like in bed together and they're frolicking, having fun, finally getting to get down without like the messiness of the sister and all that fucked upness. And then we get to see them playing Pall Mall together with the family. Like, I just wanted more of that from the season, from the second season. So I appreciated seeing them happy, and I'm hoping. I know Gabby can't say anything. I'm hoping we get to see a little bit more of that in the third season, even though I know it's Penelope and Colin's story.
I am surprised you're skipping over you're the bane of my existence and the object of all my desire.
I
Like
feel nothing. I don't feel anything when he says that.
how can you not? Like I was dying in that moment. I love that line. That's like
I
an
know.
all-time Bridgerton like
I
one
know.
liner. You know, it's
And
perfect.
I saw a lot of the girls liked it a lot on TikTok, and I guess maybe I'm in some sort of minority. I don't know because I haven't seen a whole lot outside of TikTok. Because I do know some people who also weren't like a big fan of it, but I feel like that would have meant more to me if I had felt like they actually connected and had chemistry. But remember, I don't think they had chemistry, so like nothing about it was gonna work for me.
I can see why you felt that way, but yeah, I like with all the other girlies, like I was into it. I mean, I loved it. I loved him just saying like that basically he couldn't stand her, but he couldn't help but be obsessed with her. It's like
A true enemies to lovers trope.
yeah, you know, I am a sucker of that till the end of time.
I am too.
So
I am too. And it gets a bad rap sometimes because it's a toxic trait, but it's just fun, people.
yeah,
It's
I mean, it's just like I just like to watch it. I don't really want it in
you
real
want it in
life.
real life. But it's also arguably like the most popular trope, I think, which is why I think a lot of times romance novels get mismarketed as enemies to lovers when they're not really enemies to lovers. But yeah, we love it. Stay toxic. I mentioned all. You have Queen Charlotte on your list too, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So I did mention all the meet cute. So I do love the meet cute in Queen Charlotte.
I put that on your list too. So
amazing. Which I think I maybe enjoy Queen Charlotte a little more than season 2 of Bridgerton, but I still didn't love it because it was a sad fucking show. I just didn't know it'd be that sad. That threw me off guard. So I like the loving, flirty, sexy moments, but from Queen Charlotte, I especially love their meet cute because I thought it was so adorable. You know, she's trying to get away. She's feeling really anxious, and we find out later on that he was feeling anxious about it too, but then he's trying to do his best to make her feel good and comfortable. So he's like chatting her up and just being really funny and sweet and flirtatious with her. And I think it probably was like a love at first sight thing because I think there's a line towards the end of Queen Charlotte where he says like the moment I met you and saw you, like I was done. And I think when you watch that meet cute, you believe it because it's a well constructed meet cute on screen.
It is a really well done meet cute. I mean, it sells the show basically because you're like, he totally wins you over. Like he totally wins Queen Charlotte over and us. And so when he does flip a switch later on, you're just like, what the hell is wrong with this man? You're like invested to find out because you're confused too, you know? So yeah, I really do love that scene. I think they had like really great chemistry, and yeah, I mean, I kind of was expecting it to be sad just because we know like there's something wrong with the king, like something weird within their marriage that we don't really quite understand. But yeah, I still was like, did not expect to be that sad at the end.
I didn't. I think because maybe I assumed that he didn't start having mental illness until he was getting older, but it was like, oh shit, he's young and he's dealing with this. I didn't know that. I'm not a history buff. Call me ignorant. I didn't know we'd be dealing with that.
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, like I didn't realize that either. I thought it might. My expectation was that like he was healthy in the beginning, and then like something happens later in their marriage. Like I thought it would span like a larger amount of time.
Yeah.
Instead of like the very like first year or so of their marriage it was. But yeah. So I do love Lady Danbury's affair with Violet's father and Queen Charlotte.
Spicy.
Yeah. I mean, I think you feel so bad for her because her husband is like horrible and
terrible.
You know, she's in like this marriage and she's also struggling to be taken seriously in society and everything. And then she sort of gets this reprieve from Ledger. I forgot his first name, but he just like sees her and respects her. And I think I just like really loved their friendship. And I was like, well, is this gonna get romantic? And it kind of did. And then I don't know. I mean, it was sort of like a one that got away type of situation, or like they could never really make it work, obviously. But I was definitely touched by it.
Yes. And I remember feeling so grateful that when the truth came out, like decades later in the dual timeline, that like Violet wasn't gonna act like she was pissed off like 20 years later. Because I remember that was one of my favorite parts of Queen Charlotte was that dynamic and that friendship and relationship with Violet and Danbury, because that was really emotional when Danbury was like, you are lucky to feel this sad about your husband being gone because that meant you really had like a true love, something that I never got to experience. Like, that's so tragic.
Yeah, I know.
Oh God, that was emotional. That was an emotional season. See, I don't like it. It's making me feel too many bad feelings. Okay, I wrote. So apparently, I like the beginning of things and the end of things. I also like the end of Queen Charlotte. Like the last scene is also like tearing your heart to pieces when like they're already older, and then she has him go under the bed with her like they used to do back in the day. And it's like, you know, she has gone through so much with him and she still loves him and deals with him however he needs to be dealt with all these years later. And when they did that kind of cross-cutting with the young and old actors, and they're still looking lovingly at each other. I thought that was a very beautiful moment. I did.
I did too. Like that was on my list. It's just so emotional. It's so sad. It really comes full circle and like takes it to like the show's present, but also like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was. I mean, I cried. Like I thought it was just really beautifully done. Definitely have to give Brimsley and Reynolds a shout out.
Oh my God, right.
I love their dynamic. Just them, teaming up together and like trying to, get their king and queen together. I mean, I just love that. I just love them. I thought they had great chemistry. And when Brimsley's dancing alone at the end, I was like, what happened?
And then we don't even know what happens. We don't know where he is. What happened?
No one knows. I interviewed Julia Quinn. I'm like, what happened to Reynolds? She's like, we don't know. We just like, we just decided this was a good ending. I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
How can you do this to us?
My next part. So we're going to move out of like the super emotional things and go into, I guess maybe we can call them like slice of life scenes. Like for me in a love story, I like to see the characters falling in love. And that may sound like very obvious, but what I mean by that is most of the time, a lot of things that I'll read or watch, it's very like instant, like it's all like at first sight or like insta love. And sometimes you kind of like roll with it and like, all right, fine, I buy this because y'all are good looking actors, you have chemistry. But I also like it when you can see them like becoming friends and like getting more intimate and getting comfortable. And I think a scene that does that really well in the first season with Simon and Daphne is when they're at that ball where they meet the prince for the first time, but they're at the ball like talking shit about everyone like friends would at a party. So, because she's there trying to like get a husband and they're talking crap about what the girls are wearing and like laughing at what certain suitors are saying, and then they also laugh at the prince who's giving every girl the same freaking compliment. So I think that just shows like a different side to their love, is like they're getting closer as friends before things get sexual and they're just getting more comfortable. And I think that was those types of scenes I just like eat up because I think it's important to show that, okay, like this is the reason why they feel this pull toward each other, because they had that connection that they can just laugh and talk honestly and just be at a party together. I love that scene.
Yeah, no, that's a really great scene. I from the first season, I have like something outside of the romance, just because I felt like I know everyone complains about the side plots, but like I like them. I think it helps balance the show a little bit. And I was really intrigued by Penelope's storyline in the first season, where you really got to see like this very like jealous and cutthroat version of her, and like it really made her much more complex character. So when she outs Marina's pregnancy as Lady Whistledown, I think like
yeah, that was dirty.
It was bad. Like I'm not condoning it, but I do think it was very interesting and showed a lot about her character, and it kind of like, I mean, if we think about it, is what makes season 3 like probably its most interesting season yet, just because we have to like sort of reconcile like these like questionable things that Penelope has done, and do we forgive her for them? Like, will Colin forgive her for them? It's really weird.
Yeah, there's that element, but then there's also, because I feel like she kind of lives two different lives and she has these two different sides to her own mind, and I'm hoping that we kind of get to see her break out of her shell a little bit. Like she needs to let the Whistledown trickle into like the Penelope of her, so that she can like be, I don't want to say be less of a wallflower, because I feel like that's very true to life. A lot of us are wallflowers, but be a wallflower with some vines and spines and like spikes on you. Like don't fuck with me. You know what I mean? Like I want her to have a little bit more of like balls and confidence. So I'm hoping we see like both sides of her personalities blend a bit, either in part 1 or part 2 bullshit of season 3. So hopefully we get to see that. I'm a sucker for a good jealousy scene. Do they? Yes. Okay. So when Simon and Daphne are at the boxing match and Simon sees her walking in with the prince, he keeps staring at Daphne and staring and staring. And then what are we doing at home? We're looking at him saying, "You're a fucking idiot, Simon. That's what you are." because you broke off the friendship. So yeah, she's gonna move on because you told her you're not even friends. And you know what? You look like an idiot. He's like, has sorrow in his eyes. He has regret in his eyes. He can't stop looking at her because he's a fool. He's a fool. And I love a good jealousy scene. I do. Toxic.
Well, speaking of jealousy scenes, you just reminded me. But I do love Anthony's jealousy scene in season.
Jealous of who?
When he falls in the water. Remember, he sees.
That was a moment, Gabby. Pulling at straws.
Enough to make him fall in the water and have like that amazing wet shirt scene. So like, okay, it counts.
Yes, he is also an idiot.
Yeah,
I love.
So, like, yeah, I mean, because like he tries to like like kind of give Kate off to his friend, and then once she sees like him be like. Once he sees her being really, really interested in him, potentially really, really interested in him, so when he's like, wait a minute, and then totally trips over the dog and falls in the lake.
Right, that's right. I forgot he trips because of that reason.
Yeah.
Okay, I can shake my head at that because again, I like a good jealousy scene. I like when they like realize like they're being stupid. I kind of count this as like a meet cute part 2 with Kate and Anthony. Because this is at the ball when he kind of meets her again, but this time she's all like dressed up and in a gown. And I like the scene because I think this is when she overhears him kind of being like sexist and an asshole talking about marriage. And she calls him out on that. And then he just is there really not saying that much because he cannot believe that she is talking to him like this. And she feels very free to talk to him this way. And then but the thing is like, all he hears is that like, that she thinks he has a pleasing smile. So I love when he's like, so you find my smile pleasing? Like, she's like ripping you another one. And he's still trying to flirt with her. I love that.
I love that too. That's a great scene. Yeah, where he's just like, I'm just gonna like hang on to the one thing, to the one compliment in that like tirade of insults.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of right because she's pissed at him, but like, you think I'm fine though. Like, I love that scene. It's like the small moments really get me.
Okay, so I do love their "I love you" scene when he says "I love you," Katani Sharma.
That's a good
like gives her the full name treatment. I thought that was just like
full name gets me every time.
It was just good, and then the fireworks go off, and you're just like, yes.
That's a good scene. I love you. I have loved you. It's pretty good. But mostly because of like the full name thing, like I'm also like a slore for like a jealousy scene, I mean celebrities, but also when they use like the full name because it's like, I mean business.
Yeah, it's like basically a vow. You know?
When you rewatch the seasons, do you watch it all the way through or do you like skip to your favorite parts?
Oh, I skip to my favorite parts.
Okay. I think I named all my moments. Do you have more?
I do want to like give a shout out to like the whole Eloise and Penelope fight at the end of season 2, which I thought was like really, really well done. Like, I mean, I felt sad that their friendship was breaking apart. It was a rough watch, but again, I think like definitely one thing you just like the show really needed.
Yeah, I mean, friendship breakups can be tough, and that was gonna happen like sooner or later because how long can she keep lying to her best friend? So I'm glad it happened because like at least one person knows the truth. And something else to look forward to in Bridgerton season 3 is to see how that is resolved. Thank you, Gabby, so much for doing this countdown to Bridgerton season 3 with me by naming all of our favorite moments for Bridgerton season 1, 2, and Queen Charlotte. And I will catch you guys soon. As I mentioned, I'll be doing a vlog for season 3, and then I will also be doing a live show to talk about the show with my friends, because that is always the best part, is the community that we build with our love for these powerful love stories and these emotions and these amazing characters with amazing chemistry. So be sure to like, subscribe, do all the fun things. Share this with your Bridgerton loving friends, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.